Alright, so just a quick little video introducing here our beginning of our strip build. Not a ton of work we're going to do on this thing. You can hear the all sorts of things chattering in the trees around us. This is going to be kind of our derby teardown area. So here she is, the 96 Chrysler LHS. It's got a 3.5 in it. Again, body's pretty solid, but underneath it is just a rust bucket. And motor, you know, looks pretty clean. Got a bunch of stuff in there. Again, we're going to keep it pretty simple. I'm pretty sure that right there is my my sensor that I'm going to want to tinker with. We'll get into more into that later. Not really worried about the motor to start. Again, fuse box, we'll see if we can move in a little bit, but other than that, we're going to be pretty stock with the motor work, especially because I have just really 2 days to do this, and then a week from today is the derby. But just going to take off the front bumper piece here today into tomorrow morning, take out the lights, you know, mirrors inside, which is power everything, and leather seats. Take out the door panels, take out the windows, take out all the seats. The dash, I'm not sure. I want to leave the dash if I don't have to, as long as I can get this plastic off, get this side of the dash off here so I can have a good anchor point there for my, got a hair there hanging, for my cage. Couldn't think of the word there. There we go. But we'll see. I just don't really like messing with the wiring, and this thing just makes me even more nervous. So I'm gonna take out that. Same thing here, the back seat. You can see how big this thing is. Again, a week from today is the stock mid-size 6-cylinder class that this should fit in, as it's front-wheel drive. It's got the unibody, if you will. It doesn't have the solid steel frame. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to get underneath it. I actually haven't looked at, but it's got a huge trunk. Again, I'm not Chryslers, I have no knowledge of, but if you just look at the size of that trunk, I think notching is allowed. If it's pretty simple, maybe I'll just try to notch. I have a buddy that does a lot of derbies and notches, just kind of notch, I think right in front, or is it right behind? Again, we'll see. I'm not sure about that, but you can see how big the trunk is. I just want to make sure it crushes in, but with it being a stock class, I'm not sure what I can do. So take out the mirrors again, the rear plastic, and we're going to start stripping her down. So this is her before the build. Again, you know, body-wise, pretty clean, not really much surface rust, but underneath, you can't even put a jack under this thing, and it's coming up through the floor. It's got a pretty good set of tires on it, too. So this is her. It's evening here. Friday evening, a week from today, is June 11th. We're going to have her at Spartansburg in Western PA. She's going to be our first derby of the year. So here we go. We'll see what we got. Hopefully a pretty simple, clean build. Alright, so just a video to show. One, you can see we have moved up behind our storage shed. I mentioned we are in renovation stage. We rented a storage shed. We've had it there for like 4 months now. Still not out of it, but we're onto the cement because the grass, it was just annoying me. And this is a better setup. But you can see, got the front headlights out, front bumper, plastic bumper, that is out. And a neat little tidbit with the front plastic bumper. And the first time I did, you'll see here, there's usually just 2, maybe 3 screws right here. But then this son of a gun corner, and it's like this on every vehicle I've done this on, no matter what the vehicle type is. And this is the first time I've done Chrysler. It's usually like on the inside is where the screw is, or some sort of nonsensical setup. So I saw a buddy of mine did this, and I'm like, wow, that's genius. Just take those off, or you just, you know, put a screwdriver in there and pop them out and break them. And then just take a reciprocating saw and nick that little end there, and then you can get your hands behind it there and over here and just rip that sucker down until you rip it out of the plastic. And you can see, I mean, that's all I did, was just nick the corner. Now I will say, be careful, because if it's like mine, you can see here, I've got wires right inside here, which I believe those are going to not only the fuse box, but right here, I believe that's my transmission box, if you will. I can't think of what the name's actually of it called. I'm gonna have to move that. That's one hit from getting crushed. But it's right inside there, so I just carefully put like the tip of my reciprocating blade in there and nipped it. But yeah, man, was that so much nicer. And then I just kind of busted the rest of it off because it's junk. I don't care. You can hear the toads by the swamp here by me making a lot of noise. So yeah, there we go. That's first part. You can see the different things we're gonna do. Got the end here, the air filter, all that plastic out. Just put a chicken wires, I call it, over that. I'm not sure what that is. Whoops, sorry, dropped the camera. Drop it again. So that looks very similar to that, but I'm almost positive that's the transmission module. I don't know. Could it have two? I don't know. I mean, Chrysler, I know nothing about, and this thing right here is a mess. But yeah, I'm going to see tomorrow at AutoZone. Pretty sure that is my control sensor. Want to get that thing out and sitting on the motor so it's not shutting down the motor. We want this thing to run until it burns up. We'll move the fuse box in. You can see I just took the battery out. Again, I clip the ends of the battery and run it into the car after we get the windshield out. Other than that, this guy here, the transmission radiator, again, forgive me, I don't know the names. You can see it runs into the front here, so we'll take that off. And again, the transmission lines, you can kind of see them, they're right down there. It's easier to see kind of underneath. No, not there. If you're underneath the car, you can see it. But they're coming out right there. So I'll just splice those back around, because again, if you're running an automatic transmission, I learned that lesson, you got to splice those lines. Otherwise, you start leaking radiator fluid, you're going to be also leaking transmission fluid. So just a simple cut the wire and splice them together. Pretty simple. So yeah, front there, pretty close. I'm going to tear into the back here. Those toads are loud. So I'm running out of daylight. I'm going to tear into this plastic bumper here. And just look at the size of that trunk. That thing is mammoth. And then I think we're going to call it a night. We'll come back at it tomorrow morning. So, underway. Alright, so we're losing the light. Here's the end of our abbreviated day one build. You can see we got that rear plastic bumper off. The lights, same thing as up front. I just took off the simple stuff here along the middle you can get to, but then I just carefully made sure it's clear wires and cut right through there to be able to pull it apart. And then I just ripped this part off. Heck of a lot easier using the saw and just making a simple cut than how I did it before. So again, we're losing the light. Here's how she's looking in the back end. A little bit lighter, but you can still see a big trunk back there. So tear at the inside, and tomorrow we'll be back at it. Alright, so just a quick little update here. You can see we've changed positions. We've got the back end up now after we had the front end up, but we've successfully removed that both the, you can see there the transmission's still dripping a little bit. That's just the line that was running back into the radiator. The other one was coming out to the little transmission, I don't know, coolant, whatever it is, that was out here. And see, again, for that, get the camera in here, you can see. Just use, like I said, the clamps and that piece that I had shown earlier there. Cut the transmission lines right here as they're coming out of the transmission. You can see them here, and then just duped them back together. So pretty simple, and got it tight, but I'll kind of tuck it up in, probably zip tie a little bit for the actual derby. But yeah, that was successful. A little tricky. And then the other thing was the radiator, I don't know, AC coolant, I don't know what exactly it's called. But you can see here I got a little bit of the fluid dripping out. That there's the line, still runs back into here. But the other line, you can see it's a little hard right down in there. I just cut the hose there, cut this line right there where you can see, and then just unbolted it from the radiator and pulled it out. So now you can see got some extra space, no extra clutter in there between the radiator and the front rebar, which, I mean, seems pretty tough. And you know, a 96, I feel like nowadays the things they just crumble. They're like cardboard, but maybe this one's a little bit more tough. Again, the radiator fans, got my makeshift hood support here. Can't really see, get the camera. I can kind of see. So right there, that guy is the fan motor on this side, and then there's a fan on the other side. And again, like any sort of just bend in, they're going to take damage. So I'm not sure if we're going to do anything with that if we have extra time, but I might just leave it as is. And then again, those two, I don't know, I'm almost positive this has to be the transmission computer and everything. That one there, I don't know, but I'll probably secure them, put some spray foam around them as long as your rules allow it. That is a very beneficial thing. And also, whenever I had the car up on these Gorilla stands, got them at Walmart, use them for my vehicles, changing oils. They're so much easier than jacking up your vehicle. Again, you always put your jack stands or your different safety things underneath there just in case it rolls or something happens, but it's so much easier to drive it up on that. But I got the muffler cut, so now I'm going to go underneath and you can see this baby. She is rusted. Not out of the ordinary. Sorry, I'm grounded. For them to be like this, but like up the side there. I mean, I can't even get a jack under, especially the front corner. Right up there. It is so bad you can't even get a jack. And you can actually see this one here. The guy I bought it from, the tire was low. He was going to, you can see there's a huge hole in it. He put a jack under it to jack it up to get air in that tire. Jack went straight through the car. So she's rusted. We're going to take down the muffler, which is right there. Got it cut up front. Actually has two converters on it. I mean, they're pretty rusted, but we'll take those off after the derby, cash them in for money, get your balance as close to zero as you can, scrapping everything. Just to cut them, I'm likely going to get into some wires, so not going to do that. So yeah, I'm going to drop the muffler, and then right here is the tank. And while I'd really like to leave it stock, the fuel line, which is running, it's kind of hard to see, it runs down the middle there, and then it kind of comes off to the side and then comes in up here. It is pretty rusted, so don't want to maneuver it too much, but just more than likely, I mean, even though it's inside the axle, the tank, there's so much, like this guy here is going to get pressing into the tank, the trunk tire holder, which is huge. So I think we're going to end up dropping the tank also here this evening, and I'm going to get my derby tank out just to make sure we get everything set up in the car and should be ready to go. And you can actually see there my cuts on the muffler. It has two mufflers going left and right. Just cut them right there and right there. So yeah, she's coming along. Almost done with the tricky stuff. Then it's just the cosmetic stuff inside and that dash. All right, so excuse me, we're back at it here the next day. You can see not really much more done on the front. Not yet. We're going to get that here, but tore out all the plastics, got the windows down. Just got to find my wrench there to get at those windows. Get them there and there. It looks like on the front there's two spots in each of them. And then be able to slide that thing right out of there. In the front and back window, that reciprocating saw works beautifully. It makes a bit of a mess. Just kind of pull it off with the weeds and do that. So got the doors out. Got the seats and carpet. Just kind of pulled out the stuff on the outside. And you can see how the dash, I was thinking maybe I'll just leave it there, but I think we're going to tear it out. I mean, the top part just popped off. These sides here just popped off. And you can see how I'm already started kind of going at it. So yeah, we're going to carefully pull it off. I mean, if I don't have to take it all off to, again, I'm really looking for that clean kind of part of the body there that I can mount my cage to. Back here again, finished last night the bumper. I just can't get over how big that trunk is. I'm going to need to take the first hit, a good square hard hit, to get them to pump me back in, because this car is low to the ground. I don't know if it's just how this car is or the suspension shot or what it is. So pretty much any car, even compact cars, as I'll be in the 6-cylinder class, should kind of be more of a top or upper portion hit, I'm hoping. But yeah, got these doors off as well. Again, this window seems to be burned up, so we might be making a mess of this window, we'll see. But that one's down and ready. Again, the dash and seats are next on the inside, but I think first took my Derby battery and got her charged up at AutoZone. It's nice they charge it for free. First, I'm going to get her up on my ramp so I can get underneath and cut the muffler off, get that taken care of, and then I'm going to take the AC portion of the radio there. I don't know what I can't remember what you call that thing. And same thing here with the transmission. I'm going to take those off. Again, just going to cut those transmission wires. And then I still have, we're not moved in yet, but I still have from last year my little piece. Just run it into the hose on each end, and then you got your clamps to hook it on there, and that works great. And that way the transmission fluid is leaking, or not leaking, running straight back into itself. It's not coming out here to cool. We're not worrying about it being hot, but if we left it up here and took a shot, we'd be leaking not only radiator fluid but also the transmission fluid. And then it doesn't matter if the car's running, you're not going to have any gears that are actually taken. So yeah, so we're going to dive into, like I said, pull it up on ramps now, cut off the pipe underneath. I'm hoping to get to the gas tank tonight. I bought, again, stopped at AutoZone, bought some stuff for my 5-gallon Derby tank I have. I needed some more. My gasket's pretty shot, so they sold like a small roll of it there. So get that taken care of. The only other thing up front, again, the transmission. We're going to move that guy. Get to that here hopefully soon. Bought a coolant. I'm pretty sure this is my coolant sensor. Bought that. A little more expensive. I was hoping to get it for like 12 to 15, but they only had the mid-grade, so it was like 24 bucks. We're going to unplug that and kind of zip tie it to the top of the motor. That way it doesn't kill our motor. Do that here. And the only other thing I'm not sure is it's kind of tough to see, but the fan's right there. And the fan, I take any sort of even a press, doesn't even have to be a hit, and like the fan motors are going right into a pulley and just going to tear it up. And I mean, you know, stock class, you're not going to be running super long, at least typically not. But the fan, I'm not really worried about that thing. So I think I might take that off. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe if I run out of time, be like, yeah, it is what it is. But also got my door lube. Put that stuff in with the engine oil. Definitely helps that engine run cooler. So yep, back at day 2. Again, got the inner door panels out. Hoping to get most of everything done. Going to focus on the outside stuff here as we've got a beautiful day. You can see our storage container there. There's our house right on the other side. It's under construction. But yeah, we're going to try to get all this stuff done, hopefully. And then tomorrow, just glass out, finish the inside, run the battery cables in, and we're ready to go. So she's coming. Got a lot more to do, though. All right, so one last look here for ending our second day of tearing down. Didn't really do anything else to the front from the last clip, but we had on the car up on the ramps here and tore out the muffler. You can see part of it there, part of it there. Right after the bottom of the motor. Back here, got the rear seats taken out. Not too bad. They had a bolt right in the front there. Usually they have like a lever there. You kind of lift and pull up, or they have a bolt like this. It's super simple, and then just the bolt there, and then you just kind of lift the seat up and it comes out of the little slots there. So ton of wires, as you can see. This guy here is for the fuel pump. I'm not sure exactly what it serves, but this is why, like, whenever you're dealing with wires behind the motor, you really got to be careful. And I really only unplug the wires I know, like back here, like the tail lights, or like this right here is for the antenna. Those you definitely don't need. But the things I'm really not sure of are like the speakers. You don't need those. But the things I'm not sure of, I don't unplug. I just kind of carefully pull the wires off, and then once I get my cage in here, I just kind of duct tape them to the cage so everything's plugged in still, and you know, you didn't freak out any electronic systems, because like that right there is pretty sure for the fuel pump. And you can see got the fuel pump little access panel here, kind of nice right there. And I'm not totally sure why there's 3 wires, or I should say plugs, which all 3 I seem to need. Just getting underneath and seeing all 3 are, I don't know if one's a return, one's sending it to the motor, and the other one I'm not sure. So I'm going to see if I do a little research from the guys I know and see if I figure that out, because I'd like to drop the tank, cut the fuel lines about right here in the middle of the car, completely away from anything that could, get damaged or beat up. And back here, another reason why I don't want to use a stock tank, from pretty much the middle back, the fuel lines are rusted out bad. I mean, they're bad looking. So just got to figure out if I don't need the one, or I'm not sure. So I'm going to do a little bit more here before turning for the night. Going to get the windows out. Just going to find my wrench there for that, since we're displaced. I still don't know where all my kind of finite tools are, but everything's set, really. I mean, worst case scenario, I run the stock tank there, and the only thing I need to do left, other than put my cage in, but that's really the last thing, is, again, I'm just going to tear out the airbags, of course, but I'm going to tear out the dash. So getting close. Pretty productive day, even though I did different things. Had my truck getting a little worked on too. I had to run in town, so we're looking good. Muffler's down, everything's out. I mean, you can see she's pretty clean. And yeah, a little bit more work to do this weekend, and then we're going to get our paint job going.